What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new release film that didn't get a lot of promotion around it. I didn't see a trailer for this movie. I didn't even really see a poster for the film. I saw that my local AMC was adding this into their rotation this week, and I really wanted to check this film out once I found out that it was from the filmmakers of Ratatouille, which is one of my favorite Pixar movies, and I knew that this was stop motion animation, which is one of my favorite filmmaking mediums, and I was very excited to check this movie out. And the film I'm going to be discussing is The Inventor. The Inventor is directed by Jim Capobianco and Pierre-Luc Granjon. The insatiably curious and headstrong inventor Leonardo da Vinci leaves Italy to join the French court, where he can experiment freely, inventing flying contraptions, incredible machines, and study the human body. There, joined in his adventure by the audacious Princess Marguerite, Leonardo will uncover the answer to the ultimate question: what is the meaning of it all? So, as I said, I had no idea what to expect with this movie. I read some reviews of this film before I went in to see it. A lot of the reviews are very middle of the road, but very complimentary of the animation style. And I'm honestly surprised by that because I really loved this movie a lot. I think that it's very simplistic. It's much more of a hangout type of a film. The stakes aren't through the roof by any means. It's a very thoughtful movie that says a lot. And the animation is absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. And I think that what the movie is saying is the reason why I loved it so much. So obviously, as the plot description states, this is a story about Da Vinci. This is looking at Da Vinci as a creator, as a thinker, as an open-minded thinker who wanted to study human beings and understand human beings and their purpose. And at the beginning of the film, he's working in Italy, and the Pope is very anti everything that he is doing. The Pope doesn't want him to investigate. He's examining cadavers and trying to understand the human body, dissect it, understand how it works, and to grow in his understanding of human beings' purpose. The Pope thinks it's sacrilegious. He thinks that he's doing all these really horrible things. And after this chance encounter with the King of France, he decides that he wants to move to France and that he wants to be a part of that culture. And first, it doesn't really work. And then he receives an invitation to move there. And he thinks that he is going to be much more of a free thinker. And he's met with equal challenges there when working with the leader of France. And the film is all about him trying to understand why human beings can't come to terms with this idea of open-minded thought and exploring certain subjects and topics and trying to grow your understanding of the way we operate as a whole, whether that be the way the human body works, whether that be technology, the overall understanding of our purpose. And the film does a really nice job at looking at Da Vinci less of a person and more of the ideas that he was interested in examining. You do get a little bit of a dive into his character and where his headspace was at. The way they incorporate the Mona Lisa in this is really interesting. I really liked how that paid off to the major theme that the film is trying to convey. But I really loved this movie a lot, and I think mostly it's because of its messaging of how the human experience is so much about sharing in your passions and the things that you love with the people around you, and exploring questions that you have, diving into those questions, not being afraid to examine things on your own and try to understand things. You know, so much of scientific progress and the progress in medicine that we have is because people ask questions. People were willing to dive into things that may have been considered more taboo and may have been considered out of the realm of normal. It's really interesting to think, obviously this is in the 1500s, the way that it was looked at in examining a cadaver to try to understand anatomy. And it was like tampering with a body is very much this sacrilegious and unholy practice that is very much frowned upon. And Da Vinci was just doing it because he was a curious mind. He wanted to understand how things work rather than just throw it all up to faith. And there's a really interesting conversation when he's introduced to the character of Marguerite when he moves to France, and the two of them are very like-minded in their open-mindedness and willing to question the world, and they're discussing the idea of faith, and he says, I don't want to leave things up to chance. I would rather try to figure things out. I would rather try to have some sort of explanation for what's going on around me rather than just blindly believing in something, because as I've discussed before, I was raised in the church in a very conservative family, and so much of the church and what it's centered upon is not about growing. It's not about expanding or understanding or trying to grow. It's like, here's this set of things, we abide by it, and if something comes out that may be factual or that there may be logic behind, we're not going to use that fact or logic. We're going to continue to believe the way that we believe because it's easier. And that's the thing. Challenging the norm, trying to push your mind and push your ability to understand everything around you can be difficult, but in facing those difficulties, you make the world a better place. And so much of this movie is about Da Vinci trying to use his inventions and his creativity to create a better world. When he gets to France, he wants to build this city that has these beautiful waterways and that everyone lives close together and are interconnected to create this sense of community. And his ideas are great. They're for essentially his version of a utopia in his mind, but so much is challenged by political leaders who all they care about is power and brute force, and how much of Da Vinci's life was being taken on by these leaders and say, do this, help me make weapons, help me do these different things. And Da Vinci wants none of that. All he wants to do is create these really fun inventions and to make the world better and to understand the workings of the world. And I thought that that was so cool to watch a movie that's so much about free thought and about expanding your mind and growing your intelligence. And it's cool to see a movie targeted at a younger audience that examines those ideas, because so much now we live in this culture that is so politically divided, and that one side of the political aisle creates these falsities with no facts or no real information and stirs up all this controversy and says, well, just because we say something's true means it's true. We're not willing to do research. We're not willing to study or uncover information. We're just going to blindly accept everything that's thrown at us. And I think that that's really strange, and it's very sad. And movies like this encourage kids to read and to expand their knowledge and to question the things around them. And I think about someone like me, who growing up in that conservative Christian household was told very early on, you need to believe this way. You need to think this way. You can't think about anything else. And as I grew up and I started to read more and understand culture more and empathize with human beings more, those values that I had instilled in my brain from a young age slowly started to fade away once free thought played much more of a role in my life. And I think this movie encourages free thought, encourages intelligence, and does so in a very fun and playful way that has beautiful animation, some really fantastic vocal performances. If I had any qualms with this film, there are a few scenes that start to feel a little bit repetitive, and I'm sure a lot of people don't like this movie because it is slower paced for an animated film, but I think what it's trying to say and the execution of those themes outweighs any negative thoughts that I could have towards the movie. And I had a smile on my face through the entire runtime of this. It's so charming, it's so beautiful, and these are the types of animated movies that I want to watch. And if The Inventor is playing anywhere near you, I would highly recommend you go check it out. So have you seen The Inventor? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was wonderful. I had a smile on my face the entire time, and I think the themes and ideas that it explores are really important for any type of an audience to view. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.